I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell all your friends about me.
What are you?
I'm Batman.
What's up YouTube? My name is Vic. I am the Brooklyn Watch Guy, and if it's your first time on this channel, my channel is all about watch buying, collecting, unboxings, and reviews in the affordable range, which I define as $1,000 or less. If you're into that kind of stuff, I invite you to stick around, watch the video. If you like it, subscribe, hit that like button, and don't forget the notification bell so you know every time a new video goes up. Today's video, we're going to be doing a watch review on a watch from Seiko, which I think is really cool. Let me take a look at this guy right here. This is the Seiko SUN057. It is a Pro Specs watch. Doesn't really have a nickname from Seiko, like, you know, one of those cool nicknames like Alpinist, Turtle, Land Tortoise, or anything like that. But I've come to call it the Batman 89. And I think that's a pretty cool name. So without further delay, let's get into this review. Alright y'all, so this is the Seiko SUN057, or as like I mentioned in the intro, I've come to call this watch the Batman 89. You look at the colors, I think you can tell why. This watch is tough, and you know, it's from Seiko, but it's overshadowed by other watches in the Seiko line that, you know, that have similar specs, such as the Alpinist, the Land Tortoise. This is a Pro Specs watch. You know, it's built tough. It's a very well built watch, great quality. It just doesn't get its attention. I actually found this watch because I was shopping around for a Land Tortoise. And you know, the Land Tortoise is expensive. You know, you can pay what, like $400 to $500 for a Land Tortoise. An Alpinist, which is another watch with similar specs, you know, maybe a little higher. And you know, the new line of Alpinist, you know, that's like a $700 watch. You know, and we're not even going to talk about the old ones that were discontinued. Those things have shot up in price now that they've been discontinued. You know, some of these guys are looking for ridiculous prices in the resale market, you know, for a used watch. I'm not paying crazy money for a used watch because you don't know how that thing's been treated. So I found this guy, and it was roughly about half the price for some of these other two watches. And you know, when I looked at all the specs, I'm like, well, shit, this is a pretty good compromise. So I pulled the trigger on it, and yeah, I haven't had any regrets ever since. It's been a pretty solid watch. I've been wearing it around. It's been getting beaten. I don't baby my watches, so yeah, this thing is held up pretty good. I have no complaints about it. Well, one slight complaint, but I'll get into that as I get into the specs. So let's get into these specs. So the Seiko SUN057. This one is stainless steel. It's iron plated, black iron plated. I mentioned before in my Pac-Man watch video, what iron plating basically is they coat the watch with something, they put it in the iron plating machine, however that works. I'm not quite sure about the process, but basically what it essentially does do is that it makes it harder, right? It gives the watch a little more toughness. So it just ensures that the coating that's on there stays on longer. So that's basically what iron plating is. It just makes it a little more durable. So it does come on a black leather strap. It doesn't come on this NATO. The strap that it came with, I just found it to be a little too thick. You know, the leather itself, it wasn't that comfortable for me. So I put it on this black NATO instead. Bidirectional compass bezel. This is one of the things I don't like too much about it. It's a friction bezel, doesn't click, and it's not loose, but sometimes I find it, you know, it's off position once in a while, depending on what I'm doing, and I'll go check the time, and I find the watch is off position. So that can be a little annoying, and if you are using it for the tool purposes that it's built for, you might want to consider that, you know. So yeah, it could be a little annoying. So I do wish they used the locking system on the bezel, because you know, when you buy a watch like this, you intend to use it for outdoor stuff, exploration and things like that. But with a bezel that can be manipulated without you even realizing it, that's a little you know, unnerving. So I wish they did something like what Glycine does with the Airman, with the separate locking crown that would lock this in place. That would really step this watch up. It does have a GMT, if you haven't noticed. That yellow hand, that is your GMT hand. Has the inner 24-hour dial. Very easy to tell. There is two other colors of this watch. They are both silver tone. They're not plated. I do find, from what I saw, the photos that I saw, the GMT hand was a little difficult to differentiate on those two. This one, it stands out because it's yellow, and if you see the shape of the arrowhead, it is slightly different. So in the dark though, with the lume, it is a little harder to tell it apart. So the hands and the dial, there are lume. The lume is actually pretty good. It's pretty bright. It'll last you a decent amount of time. It's not the greatest in the world, but it's okay. It's not bad. You got a 4 o'clock date window, and the date window, it is the wheels color match to the dial. Screw down crown, Harlex crystal. Of course, we're dealing with Seiko here. You get 100 meters of water resistance. This watch uses a Seiko caliber a 5M85 auto quartz movement. What is an auto quartz movement? Well, let me take it to the back of the watch real quick. You see this thing has a rotor, right? But look how the hand's moving. Look how the second hand's moving. That's because this watch is a kinetic watch. So what a kinetic watch does, for those who don't know, it's basically a quartz watch, right? But it has that rotor because it uses your movement to give charge to a capacitor. That capacitor in turn charges the battery. And that's how this watch gets its power. So your movement powers this watch. Kind of like an automatic, not so many moving parts, basically. I actually kind of prefer this, to be quite honest with you. Seiko claims this watch gives you a 6-month power reserve on a full charge. And there is a way to see this button here. This is your power reserve checker. So you press this button. You see the way it moves. It tells you how much power you have. Now, the instruction manual breaks down all the different movements, you know, what they mean and all that for how you check your power reserve, because it does move different ways depending on how much charge it has. When I first got it, it didn't move that way, right? It made different movement. The second hand did. The case. Now this watch is big. She's big. She's a big girl. 45 millimeter case. 45 millimeters. She has 23 millimeter lugs. 13 millimeters thick. Lug to lug. This girl is 50 millimeters. She's a big girl. She's a big watch. And to show you how big she is, I'm gonna show you what she looks like on my wrist. But I do want to talk about the GMT function a little bit, because the setup on this time, setting up the time on this thing, it's, you know, if you don't read the instruction manual, it's kind of not that straightforward. So let me put this strap back on properly. So you pull out the crown. Position 1, right? Position 1 moves your hour hand. The hour hand moves independent from the GMT hand when you want to set the time. This is also how you set the date. Now, if you look carefully, I jumped it ahead, but I can move it back. The date goes back also. You want to set the GMT time, you pull it all the way out, position 2, and you get the GMT to the time you want it. So let's say I want it to be 2200 on the GMT hand. I'll then go back, bring it in one, set my hour hand, and I went too far. There we go. Set my hour hand to midnight, and let's say it's 12:30, right? Pull it out again, set the watch to 12:30, and that's how you set this watch. The date wheel moves with the hour hand. The hour hand is that is basically your quick date function. It's a quick date, quick hour function. I actually find that very useful. It's a system I actually prefer. I wish more watches did that. More GMTs anyway. My Glycine works in a similar way. That's the only other GMT I have that does that. This system works pretty well. So that, you know, for anybody that buys this watch in the future, that's how you set your time. That's how you get everything accurate. So with that said, let me give you guys my final thoughts. So I forgot to give you guys my wrist views. So before I do give you my final thoughts, I just want to show you guys what it looks like on wrist. She's thick. I'm not gonna lie, it stands out. It gets in the way of my shirt sleeve a lot when I'm wearing long sleeve shirts. But you know, once I changed the strap, I found it comfortable. After a while, you know, it doesn't bother me. With the leather strap that it came with, it did bother me, and you know, it would get a little uncomfortable. But with the NATO, it's not a problem at all. But yeah, she's not little, she's big. A little bit of a slight overhang, but not that much. You know, my wrists are on the smaller side of the things. So, you know, if you're a big guy, then this watch will look perfectly good on you. If you're a little person, you may want to look at a different watch if you're looking for something with these kind of functions. So let me, yeah. So with that, let me give you guys my final thoughts. So ladies and gents, my final thoughts on the Seiko SUN057, or if I come to call it the Batman 89. I just going to keep calling it the Batman 89. It doesn't have a name from Seiko from as far as I found on any of the research I did for this video. So I want to call it the Batman 89. I want to get that started. Let's all call this the Batman 89 if you're watching this video and you buy this watch. I think this is a good watch. It's a little big, yes, but once you figure out the setup and you read the instruction manual on how to set it up and all that stuff, it's pretty easy to use. The power reserve indicator is pretty accurate. I do find, you know, because I've had the watch for a couple, maybe almost 2 months now, because the way I like to do things is I buy the watch, but I don't review it right away, right? I like to do the unboxings, and I didn't even do one for this, but I like to wear the watch before I do a review, right? I don't just take things out of the packaging and give you guys a review video, because that's not an honest review. And I can like it when I unbox it, but then a month down the line, when I've been wearing it, I could have issues with the watch. And then what do? I'm not going to come back and give you a new review. No, I'm going to wear the watch for a while. I'm going to see what its shortfalls are, and then I'm going to give you a review based on all that. And this watch, to me, honestly, the only shortfall it has is that it's size. It's just a little too big. So for some people, it may not be doable, right? For me, I found it as a good compromise because I wanted the land tortoise, right? The land tortoise is just a little too expensive, right? This channel is all about budget collecting. And even though the land tortoise is under $1,000, it's still more than this watch. This watch, you can find this on Amazon now, this version of it, between, let's say, between 150 to 300. I think I paid slightly over $2. They do sell this on Jomo Shop, but it's out of stock. So, you know, I don't have nothing bad to say about Jomo Shop. I've bought from them before. It's just, I don't like how they sell. Like, they make you think they have a watch in stock, or they don't actually have it, and you end up waiting weeks for it. I'm not a fan of that. When I give you money for something, I expect my product to be shipped out immediately. I don't want to wait 2 or 3 weeks for it. That's just me. Some of y'all might y'all might be okay with that. More power to you. I'm not that kind of person. But on eBay, you can find them. They're, you know, 150, 200. You can find them pre-owned. Don't overpay for the watch. Don't pay land tortoise prices or alpinist prices, because I think those watches, the quality is maybe a little better, maybe not. I don't know. Like, specs wise, this is a pretty damn good watch. You know, you get the 100 meters of water resistance, the screw down crown, and all that. So honestly, this watch gives you everything that you would ask for, except for the fact that it's not automatic like those other two versions or those other two offerings from Seiko are. But if you're looking at either one of those two, an alpinist or a land tortoise, and they're just a little too expensive for you, check this guy out. It's not a bad compromise at all. I think you'll be happy with that decision if you make it. And you'll have a watch that'll last you for a while. I will be linking this in the description. I don't find too many of the other versions of it for sale. I think there's one other version of it on Amazon, which is stainless steel. Is not coated. It's not black and coated like this one is. The dial is kind of black and red. Actually looks pretty cool. This is the one that I like because I'm a Batman fan, for those of you who don't know. And when I saw this, I was like, oh shit, Batman 89. So that's why I bought it, honestly. That's a true story. So anyway, let me stop rambling, ladies and gents. With that said, this is going to conclude my video. If you stuck around to the end, hit that like button, subscribe. Don't forget that notification bell. I will see you on my next one. Peace. What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Vic, the Brooklyn Watch Guy. If you like my videos, hit that like button, subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you know every time I put new content up. Peace.